On behalf of the University of Strathclyde, I would like to welcome you all to the Barony Hall for this congregation for the conferment of degrees. This is a day of celebration for you, our graduates, your families and friends, and indeed the staff of the university. These events are sometimes known as commencement ceremonies, as a signal that they mark a beginning rather than the end, and it's in that spirit that we celebrate graduations at Strathclyde. In a few moments, it will be my privilege to cap each graduate. The capping ceremony has ancient roots as a public rite of passage and as a mark of achievement. For each of our graduates, it's a sign they are part of a proud tradition of world-changing scholars at Strathclyde, stretching back to the Scottish Enlightenment. Enjoy the ceremony. I declare the congregation open and invite Dr. Deborah Willison to introduce our students.
My Lord Chancellor, and in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Engineering in Photonics, Robert Neil Joseph Campbell. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Research in the Department of Physics, Giuseppe Cantarella. Han Yu Lu. For research in the Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Walid Mohammed S. Al-Tuwayan. Victoria Jane Barrett. Natalia Dabrowska. Cinta Diaz Ardinwi. Josephine Linda Fullerton. Laura Gallagher. Alistair Douglas Henry. Ian Blackwood Hutchison. Ibtisam Geth Kaziri. Gareth John Lewis. Laura Martinez Marcos. Hazar Abdul Razak Muad. Serge Musinga Mudio. Scott Peyton Parker. Craig Douglas Shaw. Christopher West. Leon Edward Williamson. Robert Michael Willis. Rachel Amy Wood. For the degree of Master of Research in Biomedical Sciences, Ellis Conroy. In immunology, Rachel Claire Andrew. Darren Elliott Eskdale. In neuroscience, Ali Maboba. Amber Louise Tier. In pharmacology, Samuel Davis. For the degree of Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Analysis, Abdul Majid Saud Al-Nuzari. In Pharmaceutical Quality and Good Manufacturing Practice, Mire Pire Bichot. In Advanced Pharmaceutical Manufacturing, Myra Rana. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics, Owen John Brady. Ashley Garton. Ella Mary Wiley. Lily Rose Confield. Andrew Goff. Ryan Cameron McDermott. Peter McCann Strain. Crawford Wright. Peter Templeton Linton. Craig Roy. In Physics with specialisation in Complexity Physics, Paul Duncan Graham. Declan Wilkinson. In Physics with specialisation in nanoscience, Liam Fleming. In Physics with specialisation in Photonics, Jenny Morgan. Joshua Robertson. John Filshe. Fraser Ian McCallum. Amy Wright. In Physics with specialisation in Quantum Optics, Simon Colin Armstrong. Ilian Despard. Malcolm John Alfonso Jardin. Hao Yang. In Physics with specialisation in solid-state physics, Lawrence Nix. Rory Sean Dumbrek. For the degree of Master in Science in Biochemistry, Julie Nichol. In Immunology, Amy McLaren. In Microbiology, Adam Murray. In Pharmacology, Nicholas Hugh Forrest Jones. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics, Pavlos Bozinakis. Michael James Farnham. Lindsay Francis Keary. Craig Robert Lees. Jonathan James Massey. Ewan James Palmer. Alan Wallace Ross. Ryan Thompson. Niamh Maya Turner. Craig Scott Wardlaw. Zhe Zheng. Andrew John Robert Falls. Niall Thomas Grant. Raymond Kwok. Liam Campbell Rooney. Grant Rushford. David Smith. Scott John Barry. Ben Charles. Ellis Michael Gowan. Paul Anthony Ross. Jennifer Lynn Marie Service. Daniel Allen Gray. Rachel McLean McPhee. In Physics with Teaching, Rachel Dixon. Patrick Allen Merton. Alistair Callum MacLeod. Rory McCord. In Biochemistry and Immunology, Cecilia Cabrera. Claire Carlin. Gillian Alison Berry. Christopher David Boyle. Gemma Rachel Forbes. Amy Nicholson. Scott Williams. In biochemistry and microbiology, Ross Stewart McInnes. Alistair David Moffat. James Wright Aspden. Kevin Brown. Martin Hagan. Kimberly Margaret Hamilton. In biochemistry and pharmacology, Brinley Stephen Peter Hughes. Christopher Nicholas Carruthers. Caroline Emma Douglas. Justin Colin Gregg. Mary Felicity Lamont. Cameron Matthews. Rona Cowan. Catherine Emma Merrilees. Iram Shafiq. Lindsay Whitehill. In immunology and microbiology, Lynn Mamer. Anne-Marie Harkins. Chloe McKenna. Marshall Peter. Nicola Saros Singleton. Siobhan Ross. Sarah Caroline Bartle. Heather Meldrum Crawford. Jack Steele Kelly. Ahmed Shabir. Fraser Aitken. In immunology and pharmacology, Natalie Alexandra Heaney. Erin Joyce Bell. Amy Caldwell. Jenna Louise Crilly. Heather Cumming. Katie Taylor Fitzpatrick. Kirsty Lee Fraser. Glenn John Haggerty. Natalie Hayes. Nicole Jackson. Nicholas Clem. Laura Linker. Claire McBride. Caitlin Sarah McCarthy. Samantha McKenna. Cara Germaine Robertson. Douglas Smith. Andrew Tracy. Charlotte Ann Grayston. Ian Higgins. Rhiann Edmiston Hill. Hazel Madeline Kinnear. Stuart Laurie. Holly Mitchell McCabe. Stuart Murray Gilmore McLean. Kerry Mason. Anna Pingu. Rebecca Gibson Russell. Gillian Seagrave. Caitlin Maguire. In biomedical science, Christina Mary Ferguson. Alistair Grant. Rosalind Hope Thoyers. Amy Van Kralingen. Veronika Toshkova-Budurova. Andrew Bruce Davidson. Nicoletta Fotio. Chelsea Catherine Miller Hart. Rennie Chin Han Ho. Lydia Jerry Kimani. Mataxo Kiriakou. Roisin McMorrow. Jennifer Laurie Matheson. Joanne Kirsty Pettit. Philippou Andreas. Jonathan James Hugh Strachan. Panayota Soku. Emily Wan. Nicholas Ward. Katie Watson. Kieran Innisgall. Jade Johnston. Stephen Fraser Riley. Amy Russell. Neela Aslam. Habibul Liton. Vicky Sarah Young. In forensic biology, Kelly McColgan McGarvey. Craig William McKinley. Fiona Breslin. Jessica Canning. Devon Gardiner. Christiana Georgiou. Andrew David Grimes. Callum Charles Jones. Carrie Jade McIntyre. Megan Kate Stacey Whitehouse. Rihanna Brennan. Karina Anna Joannidis. Daniel Raul Mohammed Khan. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for Research in the Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Wenquin Lee.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, but most of all, our graduates. It's a real pleasure to welcome you here to Barony Hall, one of the jewels in Strathclyde's crown. Now, rightly, our graduates have been centre stage, and I would like to begin my address today by congratulating you once again on your academic achievements. Your hard work has paid off, and it's now been recognised in front of your families, friends, and the staff who taught and supported you during your time here. We know just how much work you had to put in to get here today. The late Muhammad Ali once said, "The fight is won or lost away from witnesses, in the gym, out there on the road, long before I dance under those lights." And you know, there's a symmetry between success in sport and academic success. In both, only a few see the hard work required to triumph. Our gym is the library and the lab and the lecture theatre and the tutorial. And today, under the lights of this magnificent venue, we celebrate your efforts and achievements. Well done. Pretty impressive round of applause there. In just a few minutes, you'll be asked to join the academic procession as it makes its way down the aisle. And this invitation symbolises the fact you're no longer students, but you're full members of the academic community of Strathclyde. It's an important moment for you all. The class of 2017 is graduating at a time of considerable global change in Scotland, in the UK, in Europe, and broadly internationally. There's no question that challenges lie ahead for us all. But as a member of the Strathclyde family, you belong to a large and ever-growing worldwide community with a shared ethos of tolerance and understanding and a desire to make a positive difference. Whatever you choose to do in life, remember that you possess the most valuable assets anyone can have in today's world. You have knowledge, the ability to innovate, and the capacity to use your talents for the good of society. And as graduates of a socially progressive university, you have a competitive advantage, having been equipped with the skills, the know-how, and the life experiences to positively influence and shape the world around you. In Scotland, we're fortunate in having a higher education system which is the envy of the world. Our country rightly invests in education for all. Education broadens the mind, and it creates opportunities, both for individuals and for societies. And as Strathclyders, we carry a sense of duty to use what we've learned wisely and for the good of others. The desire to make a positive impact in the world comes naturally to graduates of this university. You've only to look at the achievements of those who've gone before for inspiration. To John Anderson, our founder, who established this university for the good of mankind. To George Birkbeck, who introduced free classes on mechanics for Glasgow's tradesmen. To the world's first oil man, James Paraffin Young. To the missionary and explorer, David Livingstone. And to John Logie Baird and Lord Reith, whose work in television brought us visual marvels that they could hardly have dreamed of. In the present day, we look to Dame Elish Angiolini, a pioneer in Scottish justice as the country's first female Solicitor General and later its first female Lord Advocate. And to Sir Tom Hunter, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Scottish history and a philanthropist who's used his wealth for the great benefit of others, as we recently saw in the charity dinner organised by his foundation and attended by former US President Barack Obama. Now, I'm sure you will have been given lots of advice on how to make the best of your lives. Some of it you will rightly ignore. Some you might stick with, but mostly you're going to have to learn for yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson put it well when he said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." To reach this point in your lives today, each of you will have travelled a different journey. For some, the path will have been relatively easy. For others, much more difficult. But I'm certain of one thing. None of you would be here without the active support of your family and friends. They've picked you up when you've been down. They've encouraged you when you needed it. And they're here today to support you once again, proudly watching as you cross the stage with broad smiles, the odd tear in the eye, and one or two rather raucous noises at the back of the hall. They're celebrating today not just because you're almost off the payroll, but because you carry with you their hopes and dreams, their confidence that you can make this a better world. For the past half hour or so, their applause has rung in your ears. I'd like to invite our graduates now to show their appreciation for the support of their family and friends. We will actively keep in touch with you through our alumni and communications teams, and I would ask that you too please keep in touch with us. We'd love to hear about your achievements as you progress through your lives and careers, and we look forward to hearing from you again. The advice and guidance given by our alumni help to provide the first-class education and student experience that you have all had at Strathclyde, and I now ask that you think of those who will follow in your footsteps. I touched earlier on some of the key figures who have helped create the University of Strathclyde. You can tell a lot about the values of an organisation by looking at its roots. Strathclyde traces its lineage back to 1796, when Anderson brought it into being, the only Scottish university founded in the Enlightenment and embodying Enlightenment principles of reason, of tolerance, and of equality. Anderson believed in useful learning, and his commitment to taking knowledge and using it for the greater good is a motivating force which gives Strathclyde its momentum today. It can be seen in our business school, which was named Business School of the Year in the prestigious UK-wide Times Higher Education Awards. It can be seen in our Advanced Forming Research Centre, which sets new standards in design and manufacturing and which has more than doubled in size to meet industry demand. It can be seen in the £89 million Technology and Innovation Centre, which is transforming the way academics collaborate with business, industry and the public sector to bring global competitive advantage to Scotland. TIC, as it's fondly known, is a tangible sign of the university's commitment to world-class research and ensuring outcomes that have maximum benefit to society and the economy. These represent just a small sample of the many innovative projects and initiatives led by our world-class academic and professional services colleagues who are taking new knowledge and using it to solve problems in industry, in the classroom, and in boardrooms. And I'm especially pleased we're developing our campus to enable us to do even more. Our business school's flagship building has been transformed with a £23.2 million investment. We're about to begin work on a £60 million teaching and learning hub and a £31 million sport, health and wellbeing centre. That brings our total expenditure on the estate to £650 million this decade alone. And so too has it been a year to celebrate for the faculty. Research Associate Dr. Holly Butler, Pure and Applied Chemistry, was named a winner of the Converge Challenge, Scotland's largest academic startup prize. She gave the winning pitch on her technology, a simple blood test to detect brain tumours earlier. Professor Nicholas Lockerbie in physics, who won the President's Medal from the Royal Society of Edinburgh and a special Breakthrough Prize Medal for Fundamental Physics for his role in the international research project which detected the existence of gravitational waves. The project confirmed a major prediction of Albert Einstein's 1915 general theory of relativity, and the latter award was also made to Shara Dawahar and to Dr. Kirill Tokmakov, both in physics. Professor Eva Hevia and Dr. Matthew Baker, both in pure and applied chemistry, were honoured by the Royal Science Society of Chemistry for their contributions to science. They received respectively the Corday Morgan Prize, awarded for the most meritorious contributions to chemistry, and the Harrison Meldola Memorial Prize, awarded for the most meritorious and promising original investigations in chemistry. That is why our graduates are so highly prized by companies looking to recruit the best talent to drive their businesses forward. That is why world-class companies like Rolls-Royce, GSK and Boeing are investing in Strathclyde. And that is why we are leading research in energy, health, manufacturing and technology. Our success is in no small part due to the collective talent, effort and commitment of our staff, the 3,200 colleagues who are pulling together to deliver one vision, a leading international technological university. Like me, they are very proud of your achievements, and I know that the class of 2017 will demonstrate the power of useful learning. I know that you will make your dreams a reality, and I know you will make a difference to the world in which we all live. Thank you. I now declare closed this congregation for the conferment of degrees. I would like to invite our graduates to join the academic procession. Would family and friends please stay behind until the procession has left the building, and then please join us in the Lord Todd building for refreshments. Thank you.